It's me, you, we together now. Look at her, stronger unified. By our walk in a life, no shame. Let's talk it out. It's me, you, we together now. Look at her, stronger unified. By our walk in a life, no shame. Let's talk it out. Let's talk it out. Let's talk it out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk It Out. You know, I have so enjoyed this platform, talking to people, because to me, people are just very, very interesting. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a moment in their life that they'd like to share with someone that preferably it will benefit you in some way. That's what this show is all about. And so today I want us to welcome Jynette McGriff. Yay! So glad that you came. So glad that you joined us. I asked her because she has a very interesting stories, and I thought it would be great for us to just talk with her, see what her life has been like, see some of the lessons that she's learned, as we always do, because again, as Christians, I consider us as uncommon. Uncommon in the fact that God lives on the inside of us, and his instructions sometimes are not like what other people's instructions are, especially the world. So I believe by us doing this, that we will gain a greater knowledge of things. By doing this, we can strengthen each other. We can do things that encourage one another, because the Bible says we need to seek how we might stir each other up and encourage each other. So that's what you're here to do today. Stir people up and get them encouraged. So let's just kind of introduce you to everyone. And I remember the first time I saw you. I took a double take because you and your sister were sitting beside each other in the church. And I thought, did I just see twins? And I turned and I looked. And of course, you know, I like hair, I like clothes. And I was like, man, their hair, look at their hair. I love it. I love their hair. So that was my first time seeing you. Let me ask you, how did you even find out about Revealing Truth Ministries?
Oh, my goodness. God definitely led me here. I honestly was driving down Hillsborough, turned on Armenia, saw the billboard, and God said, you need to go there.
Oh, wow.
And that was it. Like, I was like, okay, guys, because I was going to another church and it just wasn't my vibe. So I was like, I don't know. And then God just was like, you need to go there. And I was like, y'all, I'm going to go to this church and check it out. And then I'll bring y'all back if I like it. I did. So, yeah.
You bring back the info, huh?
Yeah. So that's how I started coming, and I never left. And I just love it.
Oh, that is really cool.
Yes.
Also, I do recall being at a hair salon, and you were there.
Oh, yes.
Years ago, and you weren't talking to me. You were talking to the stylist, I believe. Yeah. And I heard you say, I've been married before. And she said, or you said, I was married to a prince. I thought, what, she mean prince, or she just mean someone she thought was a prince? What was that? So, Jynette, why don't you just share a little bit of that with us?
Yeah, so I don't know. Fun times. So he wasn't a prince. He was Egyptian.
Okay.
He was Egyptian. And I thought he was maybe Spanish descent. And we talked, we met in college. And we started dating, and I ended up going to Egypt and changing my name and getting married as Samar Wagdi. So, yeah.
Okay.
And
as what?
Samar, which was supposed to mean like black beauty or queen. Okay. And Wagdi was the last name. So, yeah.
You went to Egypt and got married and changed your name.
Yes. Let's just say I got married under that name.
Got married under that name. Oh, okay. Well, that's quite interesting. I mean, how was Egypt?
Oh my gosh. It was amazing. It was before like all the craziness started. I think this was 2003 or 4 or something like that. So it was interesting. I thought it'd be different as a woman of color going over there, and I'd be like, oh yeah, these are my people. And they was looking at me like, we know you're American. And I was like, well, I need to dress like them and, fit into the culture. And it was an experience. It was fun. But yeah. So,
And how did that go?
oh my gosh, I got homesick, really. I mean, my family is so close knit, so tight. And back then, I probably talked to my sister maybe twice a week, which was hard. And, it was like, you got to dial up and do all that and, get your money together and put it on a card and use the, phone card and all that. So us talking was not just to pick up the phone. It was like a whole
Situation.
right?
Okay.
So that got hard. I mean, us being apart, being a twin and being apart. So it was like, oh, yeah. And then the culture was very different. I was kind of isolated, secluded from everyone because my husband at the time, he was working with his dad, and I was just at home all day. And then we were in this kind of like village compound type thing where you really couldn't go out. There was gates, but you had your driver and someone took you out of the gates. So I just stayed in the villa all day and it got boring. And I was like, I want to go home. So I came home.
So you came. You came home.
Yes.
Okay. So that union ended.
Well, not necessarily. He came back, later on. But we were still together after that. But that was just, when we got married. So we stayed together after that once we came back to the States. But, me being an American citizen, you're supposed to actually, if you wanted the marriage to really count, get married here, which that never happened. So, we were just dating over here, married over there.
Dating over here and married over there. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so when that relationship
Dissolved.
Okay, then you married again.
Yes.
I guess we'll call it. We got married again.
We got married. Yeah.
Okay. Well, not got married again. You married someone else.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Definitely got into a relationship and got close and ended up, turning, romantic, and we got married. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. And so we're going to progress along because you got married.
Yes.
And then that marriage ended because of your husband's death, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. How was that for you?
It was definitely, another experience. One, I had 2 young kids. My daughter was 2 months, my first daughter, 2 months, and my son was 2 years old. And I thought, oh man, I just finally got settled in marriage. And our marriage was 2 years old. So it was all fresh. Like so much happened in the time that we were together. So, it was just crazy, honestly. It was just a whirlwind. I felt all the time, I have to be strong for the kids. I can't really just fall apart from this situation. The way he passed was very dramatic, tragic. I was there shortly after. It was a car accident, and I heard it from the house. I was literally, as a nurse, trying to do whatever I could to help him. But he had already, transitioned. And then, going back home to the house where we, were raising our kids, it was just all like a twilight zone. And I had to remove myself from there. And shortly after, I was like, Mom, I'm coming home. And I just pretty much picked up whatever we needed and left the house and moved in with my mom for a couple years and just kind of tried to get my life back together. Because I thought, honestly, marriage to me was stability, which is stability. So I was like, okay, was in that other situation. So I wanted to have a stable life. And I thought, okay, I'm married. I got these 2 kids. It's kind of rocky at first, but now it's stable. And then it's like the rug being, pulled up from under you, that stability that you think you have just totally removed. And that's the thing I think I thought the most is my stability is gone in relationship-wise, I should say. God was always there, and definitely he prepared me for that time. I didn't know what was going to happen, but he prepared me for that. And I just thought, oh gosh, I got to start over, and I don't want to date again. And
I was going to ask you about that because I knew your husband, and I think when we talked and I asked you to come and do it, I said I did not actually know the space you were in at the time. I figured it was, I guess, for the most part, interesting, but I didn't know the space that you were in. And that space is hard to describe to people.
It is. It is. A lot happened. One, as a Christian, you think, oh, okay, how is this whole grieving thing supposed to happen? In my family, the people I grew up around, and just people around me never really expressed grief or had to deal with it like that. So they didn't really know how to, guide me in the grief. So I thought, one, okay, Christian people, they tell you, it's fine, baby, he's going on to be with the Lord. And he's in a better place, right? So don't cry, just don't necessarily, and I thought don't cry, meaning don't grieve, or, you're supposed to have good days. You're supposed to be thinking on the upside of it always. When it was a battle, I'm like, geez, what I thought was good is gone. That's not
right.
Not unbreakable.
I think people do that because they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
They simply just don't know what to say. So in order for them to feel comfortable,
right,
then they try to get you past wherever you are.
Yeah.
When in actuality, it's okay to say, I don't know what to say.
Right.
Because, of course, that's what happened with me. One of my friends called me up when Greg passed, and when I told her what happened, first thing out of her mouth was, I don't know what to say. And the only thing I said was, that's okay.
Right.
I don't know what to say either.
Right.
Because in actuality, you are speechless.
Yeah. My sister, she was there. My mom, I think she's just, I'm not gonna say dramatic type, but she's just like, oh my God, I feel like she cried more than I did, and I was just like, I think to me, my kids were important, and I thought about them later on and how they were gonna feel and transition through it all. Because Christian, my son, he was 2 years old, but to this day, he can remember things that happened.
Really?
He remembers his dad and the things that they did. So it was like, when we stayed at home, the time that we were there, every time the door would chime, he would be like, Daddy? And I'd be like, no. So I was like, we got to get out of here, at least change the scenery. And then another thing that happened is one of my high school friends, she called me and she was like, I know we haven't talked in forever, girl, but your husband came to me. And I was like, which one? Like, wait, what? And this was maybe a couple weeks after I moved in with my mom. She was like, I don't know. He came to me in a dream and he wanted me to tell you some things. And that was very interesting as a believer. And I'm like, the things she said lined up with what he would say. It was just things like, he was very apologetic and just, I love you guys. And anything that I may have had second thoughts about in our relationship or whatever, she just was like confirming those things, like, you don't have to have a second thought. He loved you. This was this was that. So I was like, oh, okay. But that was like, okay, interesting, another.
Okay. But did it help?
It did. It definitely did. I was trying to figure out my emotions, and it did help, and I did have a breaking point at that point, like, oh man, this is all really true, kind of, it was hard for me to believe, honestly, even though I was there.
Right.
It was hard for me to really accept
It was kind of surreal. Like,
It
is
was.
this really happening?
It was. And, you watch TV and thinking, man, he faked his death and off somewhere. I don't know, just all these ideas and thoughts. She's like, man, one day be like, did I just see you? Like
That is funny. Faked his
crazy.
death in somewhere else. It's amazing what your mind will. It's amazing what your mind will tell you.
Yeah.
During challenging times. I mean, really challenging times, because I'm sure you're like anyone else who gets married. You think this is forever,
Right.
and so you think that we'll be old and perhaps and I don't think anyone's ever actually ready for it, but you're thinking more, if I were real old, this is something to be expected.
Right.
But at this age, this is nothing I'm supposed to expect or anything I'm supposed to be having to try to deal with.
Right.
But you were, and you had your small children, and you had to concern yourself with them, which is a good thing, because sometimes people with withdrawal and they just figure kids are small,
Right.
and that they won't know and they won't remember and that they're not impacted by it.
Right.
So, did I understand you say that he still does remember?
Oh, yes.
And so, how old is he now?
Yes, he is 10.
Oh, wow.
He is a whole 10-ager. Yes.
So it's been 8 years.
It has. Yeah.
Wow.
It is.
So I have a question. When did you, I know many questions come to mind when those things happen, since it happened with me as well. And sometimes people can ask you some of the craziest questions concerning what's going on. Did you have any crazy questions that people ask you?
No, the one with the girl calling saying she talked to my husband. I was like, and she actually wasn't the only person that this another girl said it to. Crazy. But that was pretty crazy. Other than that,
But
not really.
But don't you think it's good that you're saying that this person, which is not anything that cannot happen, because God is about helping us to be in a comfortable place, and understand that He's still with us. That gives us the courage to move forward with what we're doing, and understanding that there's still life in front of you, right? So let me ask you this. Not when did you decide when did you recognize that you wanted to be married again, but you knew that was something that you wanted to do, is get remarried, or did you think, no, I'm just going to raise my children, or tell me what your thinking process was like.
God is amazing, and He prepared me. Mm-hmm. He showed me before my husband passed this vision of just me being serenaded by someone else. And I was like, oh, because in our relationship, we didn't necessarily have the old, serenading situation, I guess. Relationships are different. Mm-hmm. And that one just wasn't necessarily like that. Mm-hmm. Not that I didn't want that, or it wasn't anything missing in our relationship. Mm-hmm. But God showed me like a vision of me under a tree, like a picnic, and just, this serenading type just scenario, right? Mm-hmm. So God showed me that, and I was like, wow, okay. And it's not to say that I didn't at that time think it was going to be my husband that was going to create this whole little spread for me, but he passed and it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. But after that, God showed me that was something that you'll experience. Mm. So it told me that was to me to say, He wants that for me.
Okay.
And I kept that. And then I had this dream once. God just, He's great.
So God deals with you in dreams?
He does.
Oh, okay.
He does.
Okay.
He does.
And just to say this, just because God deals with her in dreams does not mean He's going to deal with you in dreams. So Don't be having all these crazy dreams and saying that's the stuff that God does. It appears that she's tested this and it is true. So let's not go on a dream ministry. It's not the dream ministry, but this is how. And it's good because God does speak to us in different ways. He speaks to people in dreams. He speaks
Right.
to people in prophetic words. So you have to find out where your connection is with God. And I just wanted to say that before we continue, so people won't be
Right.
trying to have all these dreams and make them come true themselves.
Right. And it's like, did you dream? Like, if you think about something before you go to sleep, you dream it sometimes too. So
That's true.
that ain't, surefire. And God speaks to me in other ways as well.
Yeah.
But those times, that's when he really, spoke to me like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he pretty much definitely prepared me. I mean, after that, I definitely was all about the kids and like, all right, I gotta get my life together, create some stability for myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I did that.
Okay.
And I was like, we're good right there. I know I wanted to be married. I didn't really want to do a whole bunch of dating. I thought, it's a headache. With 2 kids and then, like, oh, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, let's talk. Like, oh, I could be like that. But I was on a mission to create that stability for me and the kids. So all that extra stuff was like, nah, we're good.
Just I don't have, I've been married twice. I don't have time to.
I don't have time for it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And for 7 years, 6.5, 7, I did not make any time for it either.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have the singles ministry, and I was like, I'm not a part of that ministry. I ain't single.
You're not single? Wait.
I said, I got 2 kids. I'm a threesome. I'm not single.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So,
I got you. I'm not
it's more
single.
of that.
And that, you know what? That really is interesting because I thought about it too. I thought, okay, I'm not married, so am I single? Somebody just didn't seem like it was the right title.
Sometimes means like, okay, I've never been married. I'm just waiting on God to send me my other half. So I'm single. And I was like, that's not me. That's not my definition. So yeah.
Which I think is good because if you met someone, you need to know that I'm not single. I come with the package. I'm a package deal.
Yes.
Was that a challenge to anybody? Well, I guess anybody. Was that a challenge?
For me, I definitely, my kids I'm blessed with great kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a challenge at all. I mean, they were very good. They were good. So it was never, I was approached and they never had a problem with the children.
So you let them know right away that
Yes. Majority of the time, I would say, I'm not going to say majority of the time. Honestly, I think God had me in a place where I really wasn't approached a lot. Mm-hmm. And if I was, then maybe it was at church or, build a communication or kind of talk to somebody here. But they knew I had kids. So it was like, okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we got married. I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this first situation.
The first situation.
We're going to call it the first situation. Married in Egypt, but dating in America.
Because, Jynette didn't really, that was not even my name then. So,
You are funny. But again, you do remarry.
Yeah.
And but then again, it was years. I don't know why it didn't seem like it was that long, but I'm sure it seemed like it was that long to you.
The first couple years, yeah, but then after that, no, because when the kids were smaller, I stopped working, and then I was like, oh, I can't do this. Got to start back working. So I was just like, okay, let me do this, and really, like I said, start creating that stability for them. So I was like, let me start working, really get in my career, buy a house. And we did that and really get them to a place. So I wanted them because their dad kind of being taken away from them, I felt like was their stability. So as a single parent, I think a lot of single parents, they want to fill that gap. So they do things. And that was for me, is to create that stability and fill that gap so they don't feel like, oh, we're missing anything. So I didn't want them to feel that. So that was my goal. That was where my focus was.
Oh, okay.
Is on them.
Well, and that's good because sometimes people don't do that. They do seek someone else to, and it more is probably for them, in the fact that perhaps they're not stable
Right.
themselves, so they look to other people to. Because let me see, my other half. That's a language that married people use. Oh, this is my other half. But when there is no such thing as another half, you have to be whole.
Right.
And so it appears like you were working on that as well. I know your children probably was one of the things that caused you to do that.
Right. I also had my sister. I mean, my sister and her family were huge. My family is always a huge supporter. My sister definitely. I mean, once I left my mom's house, because I was like, you know what, I can't really stay. And she lived like an hour and a half away, and it was away from the church, so I couldn't come to church when I lived with her. So I was like, okay, I got to get back to Tampa. So I was like, I'll move in with my sister and her husband and the kids, and that was really good for us. I mean, it was like a whole, just a little community we made with us, and the kids loved it. It was, let's see, 5 kids in the house, and growing up with your cousins and all that. It was great. And then we had the support of each other, and they had my brother-in-law, to be there as well, and that was a great support system. So it kept me there as well. And my sister was like, who, what you doing? Who that? So she was definitely a gatekeeper as well.
This is your twin who was gatekeeper.
Yes. My minute old twin sister. Yes.
Yes, I've heard that debate of who is the oldest, and she's 15
minutes,
15 minutes older than you. But she takes on the role clearly.
Yes, wholeheartedly. Yes.
As a big sister.
Yes, she does. She always has. Yeah.
Oh, I was about to ask you that question. She always has.
Always, yes. Yep.
Maybe it's instinct.
Yeah. I mean, we're 2 of 4, so she was always the big sister. So.
Oh, okay. 2 of 4. Okay. I think that's wonderful because in us talking, what I hear is family. Family. Starting off, and I'm talking about after your husband's death, starting off, it was family. I need to take care of my children. I don't need to, be oblivious and run off somewhere, but it becomes more about them than it does about me.
Yes.
So you're thinking about family, and then you're saying I had the support of my family, which is really important because sometimes people move away from their families,
right? Or they don't have it. Like their family's just not supportive. Or my family was always, and always is still, very active and very close knit, and so they're amazing too.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's great because again, even in your quote unquote situation, it was family that brought you back to America.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I did during that time. I called my mom, and she cool. And sometimes we say we grew up together. She was 19 when she had us, so she would say we grew up together, and we're still very close. And I called her and I said, Mom, he wants to marry me. What you think? You know him or whatever. And she was like, you like it, I love it. And that's always her line of support. She may not necessarily agree with it, or she'll ask, or she's worried about something. She'll be like, are you okay? And she would always ask me different times, situations, relationships. And she would call me Net. And she'd be like, are you happy? Net, are you happy? So it was something, she made me think like, oh, am I happy? Like, I mean, like, what do you think is happy, Mom? Like, whatever. But, she would always be there in that support and be that, little tap, like, hey. So that's good.
That is good. That is good. And now that you're remarried, now how long have you been married now?
Oh, this year will be 2 years.
2 years.
Yes, this year will be 2 years. I know it flew by. It honestly flew by. But yeah, this year will be 2 years.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know how long it had been, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And because I do know that sometimes people, depending on, I guess, the age you are when your husband passes, make a decision. I'm just not going to get married. I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to put up with it anymore. I'm done. I'm just done.
Yeah.
I'm done with it all. I don't want to do it.
I did have a cousin, because we do family reunions, and she had her husband pass, and she asked me, "Are you gonna get remarried?" I'm thinking, I'm young, yeah. But for her, she never thought about it, and that was it for her. Maybe she might be in a relationship or two that I'm not, because we're not that close. But she has not remarried, and her husband passed maybe 15 years ago. So she was just like, psh, that's it. And that was for her. But
Yeah, and that is very true. Yeah. Well, it has been really wonderful talking to you, because I've often wanted to ask you about,
series of events.
The series of events, because I'm thinking, I don't really know how old you are, and you shared that with me, but I won't tell everybody how old you are.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You appreciate it? Oh, you look so much younger than what you say. But again, just navigating those things in your life. So many things happen to people, and people have no idea where you're coming from.
Right.
And you can appreciate marriage, having had the experience that you have.
Yeah.
And can, like I said, and can appreciate having someone. And again, it sounds like your family was a big component to all of this.
Yeah.
And so I see how you smile and giggle when you mention your husband's name.
Yes.
So that's a good thing.
It is. It is that whole little thing God showed me under the tree. At the time, it was definitely him. I'm not really a romantic, but my husband's a poet, so he is definitely the romantic.
Oh, all right. So
yeah.
Does he write you poetry?
He has written me. I mean, that was definitely a catch thing for him. So he definitely wrote me poetry in our dating, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he is. And
how about that, guys? Yeah. Her dream came true. Sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Well, I just believe that God's intention is for us to enjoy life, and we should look at it that way, even though there are things that may happen in our lives that may seem like it's a setback.
Right.
But if we keep looking forward, God has a plan and a future for us all.
Absolutely.
And these things that he has planned for us are not things that he just came up with just because of a circumstance that happened in your life.
Right.
But it's something that he's planned all along.
Right.
And being that's the way God is, that's an uncommon thing.
Yeah.
Because some people would have just been, you know what, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I've tried this twice. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and I even still, I just told my husband the other week, I'm like, I love you. And I'm like, I'm getting over something. And it's when I first got married to him, there was this seed implanted of the fear of losing him. Mm-hmm. And when he would go out, he likes to fish. He likes to night fish. And I'd be like, 12 o'clock coming home, and I'd be like, where are you? Like, just praying, and then thoughts would go through my head like, oh my gosh, is he somewhere? Is he dead? Like, that just went through my head a lot through the first year. But God got me through it, of course. And I'm like, you know what? I'm over that. I go on, do whatever you want to do. God got my back.
Amen. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes our past will try to sabotage our future, or sabotage even our present.
Right.
To have you in fear, in worry, what's going to happen, or how am I supposed to handle this if it does?
Right.
And it hadn't even happened yet.
Right. It's just going on and on and on and on, like breadcrumbs, taking it. But, God was like, no, you're good.
God in his wisdom.
Yes.
Because the man could have been held hostage in his own house, right? Can't go nowhere, can't do anything because I need to have my eyes on you all the time.
Exactly where you at. I would have been like, I thought we were cool. You're not like possessive type. I'm like, no, but where are you? Like, I would have changed his phone.
Well, again, I'm so happy you shared it. You shared several things that's good for people moving forward. Even though, like I said, even though something happens that you did not truly did not expect to take place, and then God is so good to us that He still wants us to be in a place of peace and a place of comfort. He still wants us to enjoy our life no matter what happens. Yeah. He's prepared to build you up, strengthen you so that you can go forward. And you had the help of your family to help you. For those who don't have a family, I'm sure that God has someone there that will help strengthen you and bring you through so that you can really, as the Bible says, enjoy life to the full till it overflows. Yeah. And before we started, I know you said to me, but the story has not ended.
No, I was like, this is definitely not going to be so I learned this, I learned that. I'm like, no, each relationship, I definitely took it as that. Like, there was nothing before it and nothing after it. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, I'm just almost 2 years into marriage. So that's all I know, this is something totally different, which it is totally different. So, I'm just riding a wave, and I don't have remember to do this and always. I have none of that. I'm still learning.
So you don't have any 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps for everybody?
Just keep going.
Yeah, that's a step. Ugh. Keep going, and then you keep making steps.
I don't know where I pulled that one from, but just keep going. Just be open-minded and never, really, I guess, just don't let all of the things that happen stop you from doing what God has for you to do and experience. So,
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here today. Yes. And again, we are talking about being uncommon, using all of the tools that God has given us to stretch us, to strengthen us, to cause us to move forward, because God has such awesome plans for all of us. And again, just to make just a plug for the Uncommon Conference. Listen, it's coming up soon. I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited about it. I've been speaking to our speakers, and they're excited about it too. They're like, whatever you want, we're going to do it. I love that type of person. Whatever you want, we're going to do it. And bearing all that in mind, listen, it's going to be amazing. So if you haven't registered, remember to register. And we're going to get other information out to you as quickly as possible. Again, thank you for joining us on Let's Talk It Out.
We know Jesus did some amazing things. And we know greater works than these shall we do.
We know that the same power that raised Jesus from the dead is living
on the very inside of us. The question is not, do we know? Rather, do we live like we know? Do we live like we know we are free?
Do you know we are powerful? Like we know we will do greater works?
Do we live like we know we are not mere men?
Do we live
like we know
we're uncommon?